Hey out there, thanks for tuning in. And a shout out to my friend Maxine for asking about the real estate license. Where you at with that, Harry? Funny you should ask. So I passed the test, I made a little video about that. I did the time, you gotta do, I forget how many hours, but I did all the hours. Passed the test, and yesterday, got the fingers printed. While I was down there, the place was packed, by the way. Lots of people getting their fingers printed for all kinds of different reasons. While I was there, I said to the woman, maybe you should put me in a cell so I get the full effect. I don't think she got the joke either. Anyway, so I'm just about there. I found a real estate broker to deal with that I feel comfortable with. I think he feels comfortable with me. It's a small shop. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to have to do office time or company barbecues. I just want to come and go as I please. And in return, I should be able to get some business. I'm not really sure how I'm going to use a real estate license in the big picture. However, I do know that I'm going to use it to buy my own stuff and sell my own stuff. However, here's what the video is about today. Stick to your niche to become rich. I know I've made some videos about some of the ideas that I have about going into multi-unit places, and I'm not talking multi-unit places like 1 to 4 units. That's still considered a single-family residence. I'm talking about 5 units and more. Like, really, I'd love to get a 100-unit place. Is that grandiose? I don't think it's grandiose as much as like common sense or a dream. Or I'll give you an example. If you have 20 single-family residences, that means you've got 20 different tenants that you're dealing with 20 different pieces of property, 20 different roofs, 20 different furnaces, and if you have a 20-unit complex all under one roof, it would just be easier. Anyway, let me get back to this. Stick to your niche to become rich. My niche, here's my niche. Single-family residence, and like I said, single-family residence is 1 to 4 units. It's the same type of financing on it. Once you go above 4, then you're going to get into commercial lending. It's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more down payment money and things like that. So single-family residence, and I'm all in at 70% ARV. What's ARV? You got it. After repair value. So I caught myself talking to myself, and now I actually wrote to myself. But it's not exciting. It's not exciting, Harry. That's what I said to myself. So I've got to go out and do something else, right? And then I wrote, boo-hoo. I'm going to show you an example because it is exciting. So the reason why I say stick to your niche to become rich, or I'm actually telling myself this, is it's a proven record of success. I've become, if I could be so bold to say, almost an expert in this niche. Going outside of this niche would require a learning curve for me. It just doesn't make that much sense. So let me show you what my niche looks like with numbers. So I said that my niche is all in at 70% ARV. These are not that easy to find. I'm going to go over that in a second. But let me tell you what it looks like with numbers. So I'm going to start out with what the house will be worth at the end. $300,000 after repair value, ARV. That means it could work if the numbers look like this. If I could buy that house for $150,000, and I estimate that it needs a $50,000 rehab, and plus I put in $10,000 miscellaneous, closing costs, carrying costs, and things like that, add those all up and it equals $210,000. 210 is 70% of the ARV. That would work. So before when I said, but it's not exciting, Harry. It's the same thing, day in and day out. Don't you want to go out and do something new? And it's more exciting, it's more risky. And then I say, adding $90,000 to my net worth off of one single property, that's pretty exciting. I think I shared this in a previous video, but one of the first books I read on real estate, it was either the first or at least the first that I found on my own, was Carlton Sheets, How to Buy a House with No Money Down. I was living in Albuquerque. I had just gotten VA financing on my first house, 1997, and I started getting into the mortgage business, and I read this book. I read that book, and I mean, I like devoured it. I don't know if I ever used that word devour. I devoured it. So I read the book, plus it came with cassettes. It was like this fold out 12 cassettes, and I listened to those like it was nobody's business. I couldn't get enough of it. I didn't use any of this guy's techniques. He had some good techniques, and he was easy to listen to. He was so calm. So next, we're going to make an actual call to a seller. And then he would show you how he would make the call. There was no video back there, and there was not even CDs out yet. But anyway, make a long story short, the techniques that he used, I never used any of the exact ones, but I used it in combination with some other ones. That's what got me started in this. So when I say stick to your niche to become rich, I told you what my niche is, a single family residence, 70% all in of the ARV. However, within that niche, I could deviate a little bit. And in today's market, I'm going to have to deviate. You know why? There's really nothing out there. Like I said in previous videos, the things that are coming out into the market, they're priced so high to meet that criteria that I have for my niche. It's super hard. Like, I can't find anything. So I better deviate, stick to the niche, but deviate a little bit. I wrote down here real estate license and terms. I'm going to use that real estate license primarily to get onto the MLS. I'm going to do some search criteria for expired listings, maybe reach out to some sellers that haven't sold their houses, things like that. I don't have that all perfected yet, and when I do, I'm going to tell you about it. But Carlton Sheets that I brought up before, he did, I don't know if he coined this phrase or if somebody else did, but you know that old saying in real estate, it's location, location, location. Well, I guess that applies in a lot of things, but really, the new way of looking at it is terms, terms, and terms. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about, how maybe I can get into a property, deviate from my niche a little bit, but still stay within it. So I've had my eye on this house in Union Beach. It's close to the one house that we have. It's one street over. It would be easy to manage. However, I spoke to the owner. He wants $275,000 for it. It might be worth $275,000. However, for the niche that I talked to you about, it just does not fit into my criteria because he is not flexible on the price. It's $275,000. Take it or leave it. I asked him what's going on. Like, why does he want to move? He's ready to move down to either North or South Carolina. He said his bags are already packed. So here's my next conversation with him. I don't know if this will go through, but I wanted to just give you an example of what I mean by terms, 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 instead of location, location, location. Just a little bit of background on this house. Maybe it's worth $275,000 right now. Probably closer to $260,000, $265,000. The owner's moving south. It's been for sale by owner for 5 months. Before that, he tried it with a realtor. It didn't sell. He's starting to get a little bit more desperate, I guess. So I don't want to go in and offend anybody. He already told me that he's not moving from the $275,000. So to go in there and say, hey, you know what, buddy? Your house hasn't sold for 9 months at $275,000. Get off your butt and give it to me for, I don't know, $200,000. He's going to be like, get that out of here. That wasn't a middle finger, that was his finger. Right? So I don't want to go in there and offend him. He already told me he's not budging on the price. So, how can I do a win-win situation? I'm going to try some terms. So listen, Mr. Homeowner, if I understand you correctly, you and your family are ready to be moving down to South Carolina. Good for you. I heard the weather's awesome down there. Heard some good things about that place. The $275,000, I'm sorry you haven't sold your house. The house looks pretty good. I'm surprised you haven't been able to sell that for $275,000. I'm an investor. I can't pay full retail price because I need some meat on the bone so that I can make some money later on, because this is the business that I'm in. So first of all, I would never want to offend anybody, and I only believe in win-win situations. Let me tell you what I'm willing to do. Maybe we can meet with this and we can both win. What I'm willing to do is this. I'm willing to give you a full price on your house, the full $275,000. However, I'm going to need some flexible terms. This is what I mean. I'll give you some money down. I'm not stuck on 5,000, but I'd like to start there. I'll give you $5,000 down. I'd like to do, we can either call it a lease option, or you could hold a note. There's a variety of different ways to put a name on this. But I would give you $2,000 per month, with $500 of that going towards the purchase price. With a maximum of 5 years, I would pay you off. I would probably be flexible on the 5 years. I'd go down to 2 or 3. He might not be open to this initially. However, because it's been on the market for like 9 months, he might be. Now, can we negotiate this? Yes. What if he said, well, I'm not really that comfortable with that. I'll take $10,000 down. I'll take $2,200 a month. And you could put $400 towards a purchase price, but I need my money in 3 years. Then I'm going to come back to him. I'm going to charge it. My point is this. It's not location, location, location. It's terms, terms, terms. Now let me show you what this is going to look like if that went through, and what it would look like in 5 years. So Mr. Homeowner gets to go down to South Carolina with his family, basking in the sun for 5 years. He's got Harry up here, bought his property. He's not being a landlord, like every time the roof leaks or the furnace is going. It's not like I'm calling him. Yeah, I need you to come back up. That doesn't happen. I own the house. Here's what it looks like in 5 years if he went for those terms. Now don't forget, win-win situation. He's down basking in the sun, feeling really comfortable because Harry, the seasoned investor, is up here taking care of the property that he was once in. Remember, I bought the full price, $275,000. I put $5,000 down. $30,000 over the course of 5 years has gone towards the purchase price, and with 3% appreciation times 5 years, I said $310. Probably be a couple dollars more than that, but let's just use round numbers. So in 5 years, the house is going to be worth $310,000, and I'm going to owe him $240,000. I now have a spread of $70,000 equity in that house. Can I go out and refinance it at this point? Heck yeah, I can. So for $5,000 down, and I put a renter in there for, I know what I can get for rent over there is probably $2,300. I'm making $300 a month, and at the end of the day, I'm going to make about $65,000 in equity. It's a win-win situation. What I never want to do is overpromise and underdeliver, which means I don't want to make any of these tactics or strategies or ideas about real estate seem like they're so easy. They'll just start happening spontaneously. And sometimes when I listen to people talk about real estate, they forget this little caveat. Is that the word, caveat? This stuff is tough. You know, like I said about my niche and why I'm going to have to deviate from it is because getting a house at 70% ARV, is it as hard as finding a needle in a haystack? I don't know if it's that hard, but it's hard. Is it worth the effort that goes into it? Heck yeah, it is. Like I showed you that example. So with this terms, it's just something, another way of going into real estate and making money on it. Is it going to be my primary way that I make money? I doubt it. But in today's market, I don't have that many choices. Sometimes I think, well, what about a W-2 job? I'm like, I will do these deals. I will get as creative as I need to stay in this because that's how much I love it. Until next time.